traveled for almost 45 years in the Arctic polar areas, and scientists said 15 years ago that the big changes would occur in the polar areas, and I've been an eyewitness of these changes across the Larsen ice shelf, A and B ice shelf in 1989. It took us 3 weeks actually to cross these, and both of these are gone. The big one at Larsen B broke off 2002, but I've seen the acceleration of this is what's really, really scary, the rate of change, especially in the last 5 to 7 years in the Arctic. And what we're seeing is it seems simple, but the earlier springs and later falls, that summer season is growing larger. In other words, the reflective ice is starting to melt, where the Arctic Ocean is a real issue. I think 90% of that used to be covered by sea ice in the summertime, and when you have 150 days of 24-hour light, a tremendous amount of energy hits that Arctic Ocean, and up until recently, majority of that would reflect off in outer space. And last year in 2007, we lost 50% of that ice, which I think was a tipping point. And what that means then, with the loss of that ice in the summer, it exposes the darker water, darker land, and then that is more absorption. That's actually what's called a positive feedback. Once you get that feedback system, more melting ice, more darker surfaces, warmer and warmer. It's a feedback system within the greater forcing of global warming from fossil fuels. And that in turn is warming the climate more. And what I've seen on Greenland ice cap last year, is 3 months ago, we had thawing in July at 6,000 feet. There were rivers of water on top of the ice cap in Greenland on the western side. And as the Earth gets warmer, that thawing level gets higher in Greenland and also Western Antarctica. Western Antarctica is really crucial here. You're going to, I think, hear more about Western Antarctica. That's the one that we need to really keep an eye on, because that is buttressed by large ice shelves, and if these ice shelves break off, we have a possibility of that whole ice shelf becoming very unstable. But the disintegration of an ice cap or an ice shelf is called what Jim Hansen would call it a wet event. In other words, it's moisture. You have water on the ice cap, 5,000 feet up. That water flows for a while, then it flows down through the ice, the crevasses and holes, and that lubricates the glacier. And when you get more water, the glaciers have a tendency of surging forward, which we're seeing in southwestern Greenland. In other words, what's happening is the heat balance is changing. The Earth is warming, the thawing levels get up higher, and what we're going to see now is the rise of the sea level. I think the biggest challenge is going to be to try to slow down to manage the sea level rise. With global warming in the pipeline, there are already going to be things we have to adapt around. We're seeing already extreme weather events. That's going to just be part of nature from now on. But what's really crucial here is trying to slow this process on Greenland and Western Antarctica. Also, what's happening that's very alarming is the permafrost in the summer is starting to thaw more and more each year. And that's another type of feedback, because when the permafrost thaws, you have organic material, plants in that are frozen, they do not interact with the atmosphere, but when you get a thawing in the summer, they releases methane, carbon dioxide, and then that again starts its own feedback loop. Yeah, of course the problem is majority of burning of fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, and CO2. And the challenge now is how do we mitigate that? How do we slow this process down? Which is actually, it's the direction that our economy has to take anyways, so moving into new technologies and new sources of power. And it's going to take a huge, almost like a World War II effort here to do that, which we're fully capable of doing. But it's a matter of reducing carbon dioxide through new forms of transportation, new fuels. This is the challenge that we have, and it's a big challenge. First of all, the big challenge right now is educating people. And in addition to educating, is motivating, getting the American spirit, the global spirit behind this.